now fast asleep, and what I'm doing at the moment is I'm actually typing on my mobile device because I've just added a pin to their location because they're in the middle of two drainage systems, and it's going to be difficult to try and find them again a little bit later. There we go. So I've just saved that. That's very important that we're able to come back here this afternoon, and I don't think that they're going to move much now. Like I said earlier, they had traveled a fair distance. We had tracks everywhere on Vuyatela going towards Simbambili, then back towards Sydney's Dam, which is in the far northern corner, and then all the way east again and around to the Buffelshoek signs on Buffelshoek cut line, and now back into Vuyatela. So that's crazy, just to give you an idea of how lions can actually move in the evening. And yes, it was nice and cool, lovely temperatures for them, but they did do a bit of chasing around, and we were very, very lucky to witness the Nkuhumas make, well, it was a failed attempt, unfortunately, but that's normally what we do see. So they're not the most successful hunters, but at least they gave it a bash and they put on a fantastic show for a very quiet morning. So thank you very much, Nkuhumas. But the whole pride is not here. I've only seen 3 adult lionesses, and I've seen, I think, 4 cubs. It's a bit difficult to try and count them now as they're all piled on top of each other. I thought I've only seen 4. There's 1, 2, 3 there. Oh no, maybe there are 6, because there's a couple of others about 10 or 15 meters away from the other group. But the spot that they've laid in is a nice spot. They've got a little bit of the sort of dappled light on them, which will be, I'm sure they'll all be enjoying, the warm sun. And there's also a couple of trees. There's a lot of buffalo thorn, there's even a leadwood here, and a lot of bush willows, which is making it very difficult for us to try and get a view, but that's okay. Luckily, we've got a big camera that we can zoom in through the gaps. We've just got to find them. But they're probably quite tired now. They're probably a little bit sad that they didn't make or didn't get breakfast. Oh, they're so sweet. This is amazing. Just grooming, getting ready to settle down from the day. Now, Randy, you were wondering if the cubs were bigger than adult leopards just yet. No, not quite. Maybe the young, I think there were 2 young males, if I'm not mistaken, and 4 females. I think that was. But please help me out because I've completely forgotten, and I was quickly trying to read my book because it's been months and months and months since I've last seen the Nkuhumas, especially during the day. So my memory has relapsed, and I have to dig in the filing cabinets as to who's who in the zoo. And so yeah, so not quite, Randy, almost there. In another few months, maybe when they get to about 1.5 years, they'd be the size of, say, a leopard. Not quite a male leopard just yet. They're growing very, very quickly, though. I can't believe what beautiful little lions they've turned out to be. Now, I'm looking for my favorite little girl. I don't think I've seen her yet, but I don't think she'll have a floppy ear. I always thought that once she overcome her bouts of mange, that ear wouldn't be swollen, and it would sort of fix itself. I wonder if that's her over there. Now you can see there's 2 little cubs that are attempting to suckle. I highly doubt that they're getting anything. I think maybe it's just a comfort thing, because they normally get weaned at about 6 or 7 months, and they're all basically a year and a month, a year and 11 months. So they're there, so they should not be suckling anymore. And Amber Eyes is not here, and I think the youngest Nkuhuma lioness, her and Amber Eyes seem to have a close-knit relationship, and they're often off together. So maybe they're just separated, and I think that they're close by, because I did have that lioness track heading down into the drainage line, not too far from where we are now. Probably as the crow flies, about 1 mile or so. No little ones. And now, Nancy, you were saying, you were wondering if I knew that there are suspicions that Amber Eyes has cubs. Yes, I've actually chatted to Tristan about it. So that's quite exciting, of course. But we'll have to just wait and see until we find her, I suppose, with little ones, to be able to confirm something like that. Remember, it's very delicate stages, this whole denning process with lions. And the chance of the lion surviving is actually quite slim. So we'll have to really just wait. She could have had cubs, and then she could also lose them within the first 2 weeks. That could happen too. But I hope that that's not the case, and I hope that there are lots of little ones. Remember, we've seen Amber Eyes, and we've seen the youngest Nkuhuma lioness on numerous occasions mating with the Birmingham boys. So hopefully one of the times that they mated with them, they actually would have taken and now had little cubs. But we'll have to wait and see. There's something suspicious going on around Shortcut Caligo. You don't just see lioness tracks going in often unless there's a kill there. There's most certainly no kill there because these guys would probably be there. So it is obviously nearing to the edge that there is a den site around there. But we'll keep an eye out, of course. Every morning we'll keep looking. Eventually, if she does have cubs, she will change her spot. She will move them away. But it's a nice place here. It's very thick, big drainage systems. There's lots of little rocky areas that she can hide them. There's lots of termite mounds around here that would have old burrowings from aardvark, and maybe hyenas would have used them in the past. So there's definitely many, many spots, really good hiding places to stash little cubs. But it's exciting, and right near camp too. And I hope that the Nkuhumas are here to stay. They are my favorites. I love this pride of lions. They really are incredible, and especially having the opportunity to watch them grow. And I know that Brent, Jamie, and James are most certainly going to miss these guys because they've spent many, many, many hours following the lives of this family of lions. And it's really, really quite fantastic that we're able to do something like this. And we were sad, I can tell you right now, we were all sad that we didn't see them throughout summer. What you doing? You deciding where you're going to go, if you're going to go back to sleep? I think she's, oh, you're going to get up? Now, Minion, you were wondering when will they hunt again? Well, as soon as another opportunity presents itself. So even now, if a buffalo were to come strolling past here, a warthog, a kudu, anything, they'd take that opportunity, even throughout the day. Say they were fast asleep, enjoying their slumber, and something came through and rustled a bit of grass. They'd jump up, and they'd most certainly make an attempt. They don't look thin, though. They look in really, really good condition at the moment, just as good condition as the buffalo are in. So that's good. So they're not desperate for a meal. But when you do have 6 very hungry mouths to feed, they can be a bit of a pest at the moment, and they want to eat all the time. It's important that they eat regularly so that they can grow into big, strong, healthy lions, which I'm sure that they will. I have no doubt. The Nkuhumas are great. They've got an unbelievable success streak when it comes to hunting buffalo. But again, the tables have turned. It's difficult now for these lions to catch the big, strong, healthy buffalo, and it really will take quite a bit of work. But maybe they follow up on them a little bit later. The sun is eventually going to peer over the tops of these trees, and as you can see now, they're really just chasing the shade. They're moving around looking for other spots to sit in. So they could move further down towards the drainage. And I've just heard a whole lot of oxpeckers flying overhead. I wonder where they're going. Very interesting. There's oxpeckers looking for their next target to land on. They've just flown over the top of us. Now, NPG, you're wondering if these lions are vaccinated against diseases. They're not. So these are free roaming lions. They've got the entire Greater Kruger National Park to move around on. So they haven't been vaccinated by or for anything. So we saw the white mussel disease that came about with the sort of poor quality of food that the herbivores were feeding on, which then meant that there was a serious lack in certain vitamins, and the lions weren't able to get those nutrients either. And the buffalo were dying, and then of course we lost 2 of the Nkuhuma cubs very sadly due to the same thing. The others are very strong. The Nkuhumas have had a tough time. The youngsters have overcome mange, which is incredible. Then they've overcome the white mussel disease, and unfortunately, with the communities being so close to the area, there's definitely opportunities for various diseases to come through, rabies and all sorts of things. So we hope that no more of these horrible things come through and knock our lions out. And that's why it's important to control the dog populations in the communities, because unfortunately they will dig underneath the fences and come in and try and go hunting for themselves, and that's how a lot of the diseases are spread about. It's the same thing with tuberculosis and foot and mouth disease. That's being spread between the cows and then of course into our animals here, to our buffalo, to honey badgers, to kudu, to a number of different animals. But also diseases are natural. They're supposed to be around. They're here to control populations. So it isn't uncommon for something like canine distemper or rabies to come through. And it's sad because we love our predators so much. you know what? I think this could be the youngest. I wonder if this is not the youngest lioness just here in front of me. It's hard to see. You can just sort of see her through the trees, but she's got a very, very pink nose. And the other girl had a very, very pink nose too, but I haven't seen them in so long that it's quite difficult. And she just also looks a lot cleaner than the others. So maybe that's her. Maybe Amber Eyes is on her own. Maybe another lioness is with her. Hello, girl. You are very, very pretty, aren't you? They're beautiful looking lions. And the youngest Nkuhuma lioness, was actually my favorite. She was so playful. She was the best aunt with all the little cubs. She always used to take a couple of minutes of her day to play with them, which was quite nice. But they're all moving around into the shade now, making it very, very difficult for us to find a view, but we will try our best. Come on, girls. I think you should get up and go and give it another bash. I think you've got one more stalk left in you. This is so sweet. No, flat. It's so peaceful out here this morning. No more oxpeckers to start shouting. Now, as we sit here and we see these little ones all grooming themselves, just constantly reassuring each other, strengthening the bond. I think that's my favorite little girl. I think this is her here coming through. She looks like the smallest, and she was one of the last teddy bears. Not a teddy bear anymore. Off she goes. Yes, I think that's you. Beautiful. Now, YouTuber was wondering if they would eat bugs or leaves or sort of plants if they were really hungry. Not necessarily. Maybe a young curious lion would eat a grasshopper or something along those lines, but I don't think that it would do them or too much good. So no, probably not. Leaves, they might find them enticing just to bite on them, especially when they were going through that sort of teething process. They were chewing bits of wood all the time, so that's just sort of quite soothing to them. But otherwise, no, strictly carnivores. We do see lions, of course, eating grass every now and then to help induce vomiting. It's very important, especially when you've got a hairball. They will do that quite often. But other than that, that's the only time you'll normally see lions eating grass, unless they're a little bit unwell. You sometimes see that with your cats and dogs too. And I'm just going to perch myself up on that fallen tree. That's nice, isn't it? But this is where I think they're going to settle for the afternoon. And hopefully when we come back again later, they'll be around here and we'll have another opportunity to watch these guys have an attempt at hunting an animal, because I think that's what's going to be on the cards tonight. So I think they're going to get on the move, perhaps go towards Galago Pan, have a drink of water, and then start their search for something tasty all over again. But again, they could be unsuccessful this evening too. This could carry on for quite some time. And Violet has asked if the lions will hunt for one meal at a time. No, not necessarily. Can you believe it, Violet? There's been many cases where lions have actually gone chasing after one animal and then ended up taking down another. And we've seen that with the Nkuhumas on a number of different occasions. I've most certainly seen it, where they've taken down one buffalo and then taken down a calf as well. So if there's more opportunities to catch more than one animal, they are definitely going to take it. They don't quite stockpile food like how leopards can, how they'll catch something and then cache it up in a tree. There's a lot more risks being down on the ground, of course, with other predators coming in and stealing it. But I have seen the Eastern Cape giraffe and zebra, and they had something else as well. I can't remember what other antelope they had, and they were feeding on those three animals. Animals just kept coming down the sort of corridor along the fence line, and that's where the lions were waiting. They learned. But look at this little one. They're right here in front of the car. You can see them right on the right. Not too bothered. Now that one's eating leaves. Why are you eating leaves? Yes, you see that doesn't taste very nice. Don't eat them. Maybe it just thought, I'm so hungry, I'm just going to try salad. But no, you cannot digest all the cellulose and proteins in leaves. That's what the buffalo are for. Kid's so sweet, isn't it? Look at that face. Now, Tina, you're wondering how long it will be until the lions, these little ones, will start joining in on the hunts. Well, they're observing at the moment. They're not quite big enough to join in just yet. So they're just sort of sitting on the outskirts and watching. But like I said, the Nkuhuma cubs, I mean, I've never seen it before until I watched it the afternoon, on the Halloween afternoon. where the little ones were actually jumping on and learning to take down a calf. And if you do have any pictures of that sighting, you can hashtag SafariLIVE and you can share it with everybody, just so that everyone can see what I mean. So about a year and a half or so, I would say, Tina, but I suppose it also just depends on the experience of the lions and how tolerant the adults are with them. And well, let's see if they're keen hunters. I'm sure there'll be one or two of the little female cubs that'll be excited and wanting to get in on the action as soon as possible. But it becomes a very frustrating time for the adults because they get too keen. They stand up too quickly. They charge when they should still be waiting, that type of thing, and often end up ruining the hunts for the adults. So I reckon at this time, when they've got young cubs of this age where they're quite curious, the chances are a lot harder at trying to take down something successfully. But this morning, the cubs were not involved at all. It was all on the lionesses. They were the ones that unfortunately were not successful today. The buffalo outplayed them. I think they got a bit of a fright. I think they went, oh, that's a bit large, that's quite big.